Hello, Ashtyn. Thank you for joining me today.
Hi.
We're going to talk about vibrato on the saxophone. Now, you're an advanced musician. You're in college. You've been playing for a long time. Have you been using vibrato on your saxophone playing?
Yes.
Wonderful. And I'm assuming you probably use different speed vibratos for different contexts. Mm-hmm. Good. So if you're playing a more lyrical type piece, would you play with a faster or a slower vibrato?
Probably a more like slower one.
Okay. I would agree. That's how I would do it as well. Mm-hmm. And then more intense pieces that are faster tempo, maybe more intense and dynamic, you probably use a faster vibrato. You agree with that? Fantastic. So you're already very well versed in how to apply vibrato to your sound. One thing I would like to talk about a little bit is thinking about a vibrato and its connection and relationship to intonation. Because a lot of times we turn vibrato on, we don't think about it, but it can impact our intonation in positive and or negative ways. So I want to sort of discuss that with you, and we'll spend some time with a tuner to see how our vibratos interact with our pitch center. Let's just play an F scale and whole notes ascending as a warm-up, and showcase the vibrato that you've already worked on with that. So your F scale, 1 octave, whole notes with vibrato.
Okay.
Good. So you have a very nice controlled vibrato. The one thing before we jump into intonation stuff, I want to try a little experiment with you. Do you feel like you're restarting your vibrato each time you change a note, or do you feel that it continues through the notes?
I feel like I'm restarting a little bit.
I hear that a little bit in your playing. So I want you just to pick 2 notes. Let's play B flat and A, okay? And let's go B flat or A. And I want you just to go back and forth between those notes, but you switch when I point. Okay? So you're not in charge of when the note changes. I'll tell you when to change the note. And try to change the fingering without stopping your vibrato at all. Okay. So just start your A with your vibrato spinning.
Okay.
Good, exactly. The goal is to throw you off balance a little bit. Do you feel you approach your vibrato a little bit differently that time?
Yeah.
It sounded to me like you kept the vibrato moving through the notes. And that's the goal. We ultimately don't want to have to start and stop vibrato every time we change from one note to the next. Because think about a singer. As a singer moves in and around different pitches, the vibrato will spin through that. So. Let's just play a few more notes of the scale. I started on A. You could start in the same place and just play a little. But I don't care how long you play each note. Okay. What's important is that when you change notes, you don't let your vibrato stop. So let's try that. Good. One of my former teachers used to actually try to be the fingers for the student and move the fingers. Basically, like if I were to reach and play the saxophone for you, it can be really effective. So think about that imagery of how if you were not the one actually changing the key work and you could just focus on spinning your vibrato and the notes changed on their own, you would probably never stop your vibrato. We want to try to make that happen, even though you are the one moving your fingers and making the saxophone move. Okay. So with that in mind, now let's take it to another level. So this tuner here is a strobe tuner. And one of the things we're aiming for with it is we're aiming for complete stillness. If I'm sharp, it's going to spin high. If I'm flat, it's going to spin in the downward direction. Right? And if I'm in tune, we're going to aim for it to be completely still. So we're striving. It is very sensitive, and that can be really good for us as we're trying to improve to, the highest level of play. So I would like you to play the first. Well, let's check a quick tuning note. Let's make sure we're where you want to be. You tune in whatever note you normally tune to. Fantastic, great. So now let's play some notes from that F scale we were just playing. Perhaps we'll use the first 4 notes because that keeps us from crossing the break. So let's use F, G, A, and B flat and play them without any vibrato, straight tone. Now, you probably noticed that everything was a tiny bit on the flat side. Before we make any adjustments, let's do it with vibrato. We know maybe everything was a little low, so we might make a little adjustment later, but it all was consistently on the low side. Let's try it with vibrato. Let's see if it gets better, worse, or the same. Good, let's do it once without vibrato. Not bad at all. They were basically pretty still for most of it. Now let's add vibrato in and let's see what happens. Do you feel that when you started playing with vibrato, you got a little bit better or a little bit worse with intonation?
I feel like sometimes it wanted to go a little flat.
Wanted to go a little flatter. So what do you think that tuner is telling you about your vibrato?
That I tend to go down in pitch.
Yeah. So, I mean, we know vibrato is a down and an up, right? But if we are in tune on a note and then we start playing with vibrato and it starts spinning downwards, it means our pitch center has dropped. Or the opposite, our pitch center has raised. So if you're lowering and not coming back up and raising the same amount that you're lowering, it's going to lower your pitch center. And this is going to pick up an averaging of that. What's also cool is that this can pick up, if you're in tune, it can pick up actually the wiggle of your vibrato. So we're going to attempt to accomplish that. Let me demonstrate a little bit of finding, I'm going to use the note F. Let me see if I'm in tune. This works a little bit better with this tuning app at a higher frequency, I've noticed. So I'm going to go up an octave. Do you see how I can get a little bit of a wiggle in there?
That's cool.
It's very cool. I love it. So the thing I really enjoy about this app is that it allows me to see my vibrato wave in action, and it tells me whether or not my vibrato is impacting my pitch center. Let's take it up an octave to the higher F.
Just playing?
Just playing, yep. No vibrato. Let's make sure we're in tune. Good. Now add vibrato to it. Do you notice that your pitch is actually going a little bit higher here? Huh. Let's use your vibrato to help bring the pitch down. So think about it. If you know this note is slightly sharp, right? It's a little on the high side. Instead of our vibrato having to push all the way back up, let's use it to help bring the pitch center down just a hair. Let's see if you can use vibrato to your advantage. Good. Let's make it wider. Let's make it faster. Good. Let's try that one more time and think about pulling the pitch down just a tiny bit more. Now, when you got it in tune, did you notice how the vibrato wasn't super consistent? Mm-hmm. This is something you'd want to practice because you want, of course, we want to play in tune and we want to use vibrato. But if the two can't happen simultaneously, we have a problem, right? We want to make sure that that's something we iron out in our playing so that we can play with beautiful vibrato and it not affecting our pitch. I think every musician I know has moments of intonation that they wish they could have back, right? We're striving at, you're never perfect at intonation. It's something that you strive and work every single day at. But a lot of times we work on tuning and then we play things with vibrato. And we never work on vibrato and tuning at the same time. Do you feel that adequately describes how you approach your practice? Yeah, more often than not. So having an app that gives you direct feedback, right? You can do this with any kind of tuner, but the strobe tuners are the most effective. If I can find now I'm getting tactile visual feedback of whether or not my intonation is affected by my vibrato. And for you, a musician who already makes beautiful sounds and have a wonderful expressive vibrato, the next step is, am I doing this with great intonation? And this is an excellent resource to use to start working on trying to refine that and know if it's actually working. And so with daily practice, with a tuner like this in your practice room, the sky's the limit with what you can accomplish in getting that to be really stable and training the muscles to do all that. So bravo, excellent work.
Thank you.